Alright, g'day guys, welcome back to our Medieval 2 Total War campaign as Denmark, using the stainless steel 6.4 modification. Now in the last episode we managed to take Skara from the rebels, and that sort of gave us an extra piece of land here in Sweden, so that, you know, we weren't resigned sort of to Denmark here. In this episode it looks like we're going to have to go east, because I'm having a look and this is a Norwegian border, which means Norway has managed to take Oslo. So before we get into any conflict with Oslo, with Norway at all, I think it's best that we take perhaps this settlement here, and there is another town up here that I think we might take, and of course this island, and that way we can make sure that when we do go up against Norway, they don't stand a chance at all. So we'll have a look at our army. Now we managed to take Skara, and that was good. There wasn't many people garrisoned in it. Unfortunately, we do have some heavy casualties on our units, so I'm going to start merging our units to make sure that they're nice and full strength and not difficult to use. And they're two different units. There we go. And okay, that's pretty much all we can do for now, and all our units are above 100, and of course we can still recruit units from our other cities, which we will do. In fact, we already have, and we can grab another boat. Alright, so we will move our conquering army down with Prince Nud at the helm, who is our faction heir. He is a 3-star general. He's now 20 years old, so we will move him southward, and we will leave, let's see, a spear militia to garrison Skara, and they shouldn't have any problems there while I leave. Nope, they're perfectly green. And we'll strike out towards our next target. Hopefully the rebels won't have enough men to defeat this sieging army, but we'll see what happens when we get there. We may have to reinforce with units from Lund. In terms of our diplomat, he is still moving southwards towards France. I think this is French territory here. This is the border, so we'll keep moving. And indeed, we have met France. So what we will do is we'll try to get some trade rights. And they have accepted. And then now we will move. I don't have a boat to move. I do have some boats back in Denmark, but I can't be bothered bringing them over. So I'm going to move him southward towards Italy, the Papal States, and Genoa, and those factions down this end. And up here, there's not much more we can do until our sieging army manages to get to whatever this settlement is. So we're going to end the turn here. And of course we still have our spy looking up at Norway. Now Norway, if they only have 3 regions, shouldn't be too powerful to take. They clearly have their conquering army in Oslo at the moment, because they have no garrisons in either their capital or the Ikasarund, however you pronounce that. So perhaps we can, if once we take out their main army, they will pretty much be at our mercy. And of course the turn times are going to get longer and longer as the game goes on, because the factions are processing more information each turn. But that's okay, they're not too bad at the moment. So we'll wait for the rebels to end their turn. And we have got a bride presented, which is Maria to Magnus Estridsson. So I'm not quite sure who that is, but we will marry her off. There we go. And we're going to move Nud closer to his target, and we still don't have any information on at all. I'd love to get my spy down there, but he's just going to take too long to get down there, so we're just going to leave that as is. And for our diplomat, we will keep moving southward. There's a Holy Roman Empire city, and that is a rebel castle. And it looks like Harold over here has converted Roskilde territory into 95% Catholicism, so we're going to move him away from there into over here onto the mainland of Sweden. And hopefully he can convert these guys. And of course he is a fairly good cardinal. He's 46 years old, and he does have 5 experience points, or whatever you call them, in the piety trait, which is good for a cardinal. So we'll end the turn again. And of course this is sort of a race between Norway and myself to take over as much of Scandinavia as we possibly can before the other one does. We got a head start because we started off with 3 territories, but with the rate that that Norway managed to take Oslo, we might be in for a bit of competition if they do have any settlements up in the north. So perhaps after taking this town, or yep, it's a town. After we take this town, we might actually go and start a war with Norway. And I did have to turn off permanent arrows. Unfortunately, they were causing a little bit too much lag. And, you know, I mean, they looked cool, but to be honest, they didn't really add enough to warrant the frame per second hit. So they have been turned off. Okay, so Kalmar is completely undefended, so we're going to quickly take that. We'll build some siege equipment, which should only take us 1 turn, and we'll maintain the siege. Next turn, we will just take that from them. There is a rebel fleet down here with 1 ship. I think I might get my Admiral John to take care of them. And for some reason, it's saying that they've got a almost 0.5% chance of winning, but we will automatically resolve. And of course we lost a ship in that. It's not a big deal. Send them back to Aarhus to get repaired, and we will see if we can recruit any more units in the process. Which doesn't look like we can, except for over here in the capital. And of course we're going to be keeping an eye on our construction to make sure that we're always building something. So here in Roskilde we have only the grain exchange, and that's going to finish next turn. So what we will do is we'll grab a brothel and let's see. We don't really have need for a leather tanner because we're not going to be recruiting too many units from this town here, but we'll perhaps make a ballista maker and have this Roskilde as our ballista production center. Over here we can create communal farming, which is always good. I believe it has population benefits. But to be honest, I'm not sure. I always just assume that they would give you extra money and population for the city. What else we can build? We can build a small church, so we'll do that. And I think that's it for the capital. Over here in Skara, the only thing we can do is convert it to a village, which I don't particularly want to do because this is on our front line border between Norway and us, of course. So I think we'll leave that as a defensive center, but we will recruit some peasants into that. Just in case Norway do attack, we can do our best to stop them. And over here in Lund, we can build a small church and perhaps a brothel as well. And that'll keep the construction going until we get some more options and we can expand these cities and castles. So we can't do anything over here anymore, so I think we're going to end the turn here. And of course our diplomat is still moving south, so Genoa should just be below him. We'll try and get some trade agreements there, and of course Venice to the east, and then further south you'll get the Papal States and what would that be? Sicily probably. And you never know if the Byzantines have part of Italy territory, so they would be good trade partners, all of them. So yeah, campaign's off to a good start. We're not doing too badly. We should we're on our way to expanding fairly quickly because most of the territories in Scandinavia are all rebel owned. Looks like Norway wants a trade agreement, which isn't a terrible idea. We might as well get some money out of them before we destroy them.
Thanks. Goodbye. We look forward to our next meeting.
But that's definitely not going to save them from the destruction of the Danish armies. And, you know, I've been thinking about which direction we might go after we take all of Scandinavia, and I think a British naval invasion of the British Isles might be kind of interesting, so we might do that. We'll get our diplomat, and we'll get him to start talking to Genoa, and we'll get trade rights going. There we go, perfect. And we will move him towards Venice, which should be on this island over here. And it's a rebel army, a fairly big one. Looks like Genoa is having some problems. Okay, there we go. And up here in Denmark and Sweden, can't really do anything. We can now attack Kalmar, of course, so we will do that.
Honor and courage, soldiers.
I don't think there's any need for us to fight this out. They have 121 Viking Raiders, but I don't like that power bar. That's going to be very much against us. So I think we might just quickly get this over and done with. So I think our archers can probably take care of them actually. But we'll see what happens. After the battle actually, I'm going to have a look at the stats of all my units. I haven't done that, and I'm not quite sure whether or not my spearmen are better or worse than my Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders are light infantry, that's the only thing, not heavy infantry like I thought they were originally. Okay, so we'll start the deployment, and we'll move all of our archers to the gates. And of course we'll get them to drop the siege and siege equipment. Okay. Alright, there we go. And we will get our spearmen behind them, although I doubt we'll have much need for our melee units until the units inside the building have actually been wiped out. Okay, and we'll just move up our units and start hitting these guys on the walls. So it's nice and convenient that they're on the walls. Although it looks like they're going to move down, which would probably be the smart idea. Let's see, where are they going to go? Well, in that case, I'm going to move up the ram because they may retreat to the city centre, which is just going to be difficult for us to hit them from here, of course. And they should remain in range for a while yet. Okay, it looks like all my units can hit them, so I'm just going to click the attack order, and hopefully they'll start taking out some of their units. Alright, that's doing a fairly decent job. Alright, so we'll leave our melee units to that, and we'll make sure that we're getting our siege ram moved up. And they of course have opened the gates again. So we will drop the siege ram and run out to attack them. Which will be good because now it means my archers will be able to get flanking fire on them. But no, it looks like they've run back inside again. So I think I might wait until they're all outside the gate first, because I have a feeling as soon as I drop the siege ram, they're going to come running back into the settlement again. Okay, there we go. And I quickly charge them. And some of my archers are on skirmish mode.
Our men are winning the battle. If we continue
But
like
either
this,
way,
we
these
will
guys don't stand a
smash the
chance.
enemy.
So I'm going to move my general up quickly, and he can probably capture the gates and run straight for the city centre.
The enemy are badly blooded. They have lost half their men. Look how
Okay,
our
that's it. End of the battle.
cowardly
Okay.
foe, all civilized
So we lost
peoples
31
will
men
be
in that, but
awed
not a
by
big
the
deal. We
victory.
managed to gain a city out of it. So that's good. We've pushed our borders a little bit more, and it looks like we can now turn around to face the rebel army. Sorry, Norway, which should be interesting. So we'll occupy this settlement, and there is another rebel town up here, and that one's fairly garrisoned actually. As long as they don't come and attack us, I think we should be right to take care of Norway. So what we will do is have a look at our army. I mean, there's not much we can do at the moment. We will build some more set of things in this city. So we'll grab a farm, a chapel, and let's see, the brothel as well. We can retrain some units, so we'll definitely do that. And we can also hire some Viking Raiders. Now the Viking Raiders compared to the Spear Militia. Let's see. So the Spear Militia have 1 attack, 2 charge, and a defensive 8. And the Viking Raiders have attack 5, charge bonus 3, and total defensive 10. So the Viking Raiders, besides the number of men in each unit, are superior to the Spear Militia, even though they are light infantry. So that's good to know. So I suppose over here there's not much we can do. We will move our part of our army back to Skara, because I have a feeling that Norway may see Skara as a pretty good target. And over here we have we were retraining some of our troops, but it's not a big deal if they're not at full strength. We can hire another bow unit, and I think that's it for now. And it looks like we can start the invasion of Norway pretty soon, so we'll end the turn here. And of course we will need to repair our ships. That's the only other thing. So far so good. I don't think there's any other factions up in Scandinavia besides Denmark and Norway. So that's that sort of reduces the competition a little bit. But we will have the Teutonic Knights just across the sea there on the mainland, and of course we do have the Holy Roman Empire. But we'll deal with those if we need to. I doubt the Holy Roman Empire will stab us in the back at the moment, because we do have an alliance with them, and that will make them look bad if they do attack us. Okay, let's see. A suitable prince. Let's see. Terrible command, no chivalry. Loyalty is fairly good, and he's 27 years old, so might as well. Okay, and they got married, of course. And it looks like there is a rebel army, and he was somewhere in the south, probably moving towards Lund. So we will return and fight him, and we will have less men. So hopefully we can win, but he does have Viking Raiders, Viking Landsmen, and 2 units of Levy Archers. And whereas we only have 2 Viking Raiders, 3 archer units, and 1 Spear Militia, and of course cavalry. So we probably stand a good chance. I'm not quite sure why we're not getting reinforcements from Kalmar, but hopefully we can at least take out as many of these guys as possible, and then move the remaining units from Kalmar to take out their army. But we should be able to win. So I'll just quickly save, and we'll start the battle. So this will be the first major land battle of the campaign, which should be good. And generally, if I can just sort of pin down their units with archer fire, I might be able to stand a chance. And we do seem to have a good position on this hill. Okay, let's see. We will move our archers behind our main unit, and we'll turn them off skirmish fire. So with only 3 infantry units, we will have to stretch out quite a fair bit to make sure that our front at least matches theirs. And our general can move up here on our left flank, and we'll get him charging down the hill. Okay, so the enemy army has started down here, and they've got their archers in front of their line. Okay, that's alright. They will be attacking up the hill. And we will just move up to make sure that we have the maximum amount of land bonus. Make sure our units are running, and we will push up our cavalry right up here onto the peak of the hill. And that way we can get some really good flanking charges downhill, which should at least devastate their left flank. Okay, so our archers should be in range soon. In fact, one of them are, and the other two are now as well. So we'll start getting some fire on them. And it looks like they may have left their archers undefended except for this Viking unit, which we will be able to take out with our cavalry. So, let's get that charge going. And hopefully our general won't get caught up in the melee with the main line unit. Okay, that should break them fairly quickly. And we will pull back. I do not want my general in extended combat because it's not that he will lose, but I don't want to lose too many men from that cavalry unit.
Victory will be ours.
Okay, it looks over here we do have an engagement between, what is this, the Viking raiders, ours, and their Viking landsmen, who are heavy infantry, so that flank is almost certainly going to fold. I'm going to get a charge on down here, and hopefully we can break the center and their right flank before this flank of ours falls. So we'll get some flanking charges in with our general. And in fact, I might move him over to support this flank, because it looks like we are losing quite a few men, and if we can get a rear charge on them, it might break them.
By the grace of God, our men have slain the enemy general.
Okay, that's good. We killed their general, who must have been part of this Viking landsman unit, so we have routed their army, or at least the melee parts of their army. So we will give chase with our own melee units. And all we have to do now is clean up their archers. So we're going to end the battle here. And that's pretty good. We used the terrain properly. And we had our cavalry with some strong support. If we didn't have that cavalry unit, we probably would have lost that. So that's good. What's good about Medieval 2 is that the enemy won't chase a single unit of yours around the entire battlefield. I mean, Rome 2 still has that problem where if you have a single cavalry unit, I've seen entire enemy armies just run around trying to chase a single cav unit. So it's nice that that doesn't happen. A little bit more realistic as well. So that's good. We've sort of neutralized the rebel threat in this area. So I'm going to keep moving towards Skara with this army. We're going to need a replenishment of units in Lund, so I'm going to recruit as many spear units as I possibly can, and then send them over to Lund when we get the chance. Okay, and our fleet needs to be replenished, actually. So we will retrain this unit here, because it only has 29 men left in it, and over here we can send these units across to Lund, where they will meet up with our main army. And this general unit here, Eskild Godfridsson, can move to Skara as our governor over there. And I think that's all we can do for now. Harold's working on converting. He's already converted 93% of the population. And our Denmark itself is almost 100% Catholic, so that's a good bit of progress. Down here in Italy, we've still got our diplomat, of course, moving towards Venice, so we will get some trade agreements. Unless we already have trade agreements. We already have trade agreements with Venice, so we can move our diplomat towards the Papal States.
Stopping here, Mikey.
Okay, and it looks like the Holy Roman Empire has part of northern Italy, which I think they start off with, but they might have gotten into a conflict with some rebels. And I think we can end the turn here. Alright, so I think we're making some fairly decent progress. And hopefully Norway will collapse fairly soon. I'm almost certain Norway has Oslo, because I can see the border and it is Norwegian colours, but the city is still saying that it belongs to rebels. So that might just be sort of the game's way of simulating old information. But I'm almost certain Norway now has 3 cities that we will need to conquer. So we'll make sure that we move as many troops from our main cities to Lund to meet up with the conquering army, because I have a feeling that Norway's probably not going to get put down so easily as rebel units. Alright, so what else can we do? There's not much we can do until we do get our armies up to the north. Getting some updates. Phoenician Doge is dead. End of turn report. We have a lot of money. We have 21,500. And we have built some buildings in our, what is that, Lund, in our capital. So Lund is a pretty decent little town for our sort of our conquering escapades. I don't know the word. We're going to move these units northward again. And of course this general who is now in control, Niels, is going to become the governor of Skara. And of course we have Magnus as the governor of Roskilde. And we do have more units still coming from Aarhus, so that's good. We now have probably too many people. This Kalmar doesn't have any governor, so I'm going to move, who is this? Eskilde to Kalmar. And these 2 armies will meet up, and I think that's all we can do. We're really just going to have to keep ending the turn here. Looks like up here Norway has a small army. I'm going to do some reconnaissance with our spy unit to make sure that I'm not going to get surprised with any major armies. Looks like Scotland had a ship over next to this Norwegian town, and there is another Norwegian army here. So that's okay. So this is definitely Norwegian owned now. This Oslo is definitely Norwegian, and they may be expanding into this territory over here, but because this is a grey border, I don't believe that they control any of it at all. So we'll end the turn. And what I should have done was engaged in diplomacy before I ended the turn, but that's okay. We can get our diplomat to start some trade agreements with the Papal States next turn. And I don't think we have to deal with the Papal States until we start attacking other Christian nations. So I think we may have a problem if the Pope excommunicates us if we attack Norway, but you know, we'll see what happens. Because we're not, it's a big deal when you're England or you're Scotland and you attack another Christian nation, but I'm not quite sure what's actually going to happen if we attack Norway. Although we are Catholic, so I imagine it's going to have some impact. Alright, there we go, and we'll send our diplomat to start negotiations so we can get trade agreement. So we'll do that, and they accepted, which is good, and we'll keep moving south towards, what is this? Sicily, yep. So next turn we'll be able to get some trade agreements there as well. Not that we need the money, of course, but, you know, doesn't hurt. Okay, so we will get this guy here to move into Kalmar over there. These 2 armies are going to meet up. This guy is going to move up here as well, and we need 1 general to go to Skara, so that will be Niels. So Niels is going to be our governor of Skara, and it looks like our conquering army is pretty much ready to engage the Norwegians, so it'll take us a few turns to get up there, but you know, it'll be good once we do. So again, I must apologize for all the end turns, but there's not much we can really do, and unfortunately that's probably the one downside of stainless steel, is the extremely long end turn times. And it does look like our spy has uncovered that Oslo is indeed Norwegian, which we were fairly certain of, but you know, they don't have any units garrisoning it, so we can we will be able to capture it quickly without Norwegian interception. And it'd be good to get a nice big land battle between Norway and Denmark going. Hopefully we can get they can meet us halfway where our spy is about now. That'll make it nice and interesting. It looks like Norway wants to talk again. Or perhaps not. I think they're trying to take our trade point with the honey, which was the 90, and it looks like they successfully managed to take that trade point, but that's fine. Like I said when I started, I'm not a huge fan of trade because I find it really difficult to use, and that happens way too often. But once we wipe Norway off the map, I don't really think it matters. I don't think they become independent merchants. If they do, I'm going to be annoyed. Okay, so we can move this army even further north, and you know what? I think I'm going to end the episode here. We've had a couple of good battles. Next turn, we will be inching closer towards Oslo, and we will be able to take Oslo from the Norwegians and perhaps even push into the Norwegian capital. So thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and a like, and if you want to follow any more of the episodes, subscribe. So I'll see you later, guys, and have a good one.